And we are back. Faithletic, the podcast, live and in color, right on your iPhone, Android, iPad, tablet.
Wherever you listen
or
to us.
wherever you kids do this day.
Yeah, right?
These days. We are here.
We're here.
And
We're back.
Football season is officially over.
It's
if you're an
begun.
NFL fan.
Well,
if you're an XL fan, which we're going to talk about at the top of the show today, we have got an action-packed. Trust me, even though football season is over with, there is plenty to talk about.
Oh,
and
yeah.
now we'll have more time to be a tad bit more entertaining, perhaps, because we're going to get off the cuff and talk about things that we enjoy and things that you might enjoy, and
I think
less sports. I mean, we'll still have sports. We got the Thunder going on.
We're watching it right now.
Actually, it's on a Thunder update, up by 3 in the second quarter. 3 minutes left.
Yeah.
Up by 3, 54-51.
But I don't know, Dan. I'm pretty lost though, so I have to jump in this XFL kind of with.
Well, let's go.
feet.
Let's go.
Yeah.
So, started last Saturday.
It did. I watched most of the games actually.
Did you?
Yeah, I did. I ended up watching a lot of the games.
Did you watch all the games, or did you just kind of tune in a little bit
No,
here and there?
I genuinely watched probably 2 of the 4 and then tuned in to the other 2, at least some. I am all in on the St. Louis Battlehawks, though.
Well, they backed in to win.
Huge St. Louis
So
Battlehawks
let me just
fan.
say this, okay?
Yes.
After the first week, there's one thing that's clearly evident.
Yeah, talk to me.
It's not a quarterback league.
No.
The quarterbacking is a little bit to be desired, in my opinion.
Oh, I think Cardell Jones and Jordan Teamu really knocked it out of the park. PJ Williams also from the L.A. Wildcats. No, it is not great quarterback play, but gosh, I don't know. I think it's better than the AAF last year, the Alliance of American Football, that caught America's attention for 2 weeks.
Yeah.
And that's, obviously that could be the same with the XFL, but right now the social media accounts are absolutely crushing it right now.
Yeah, they're doing good.
Yeah.
They took off.
They're making it really fun to watch. And I don't know.
What do you like about it?
That it's football to begin with.
Okay.
That
doesn't
right
necessarily
now,
mean anything, but okay.
To me, yeah, but
I'm going to be argumentative today
that's
on
fine.
the XFL.
I'm in.
Just get ready.
That's okay. I really like the innovativeness of the kickoff. I thought that was really interesting. It's safe. It does look awkward. There's no doubt about that when you have them 5 yards away from one another.
Yeah.
But at least it gives the chance of a kickoff, which is still.
And they're lined up where?
They're lined up on the 30-yard line.
30.
Yeah, so you have a kicker just all by his lonesome kicking
down
off
back at the
Yeah, 2 lines of people. If it doesn't get past the 20, then it's like they get the ball at the 45-yard line.
Oh, really?
And and if you kick
wait a minute, if he doesn't get past the 20?
Yeah, so they want you to kick it between the 20 and the end zone, right?
Oh,
so
I
if you
see.
get it in the end zone, you actually a touchback is at the 35-yard line.
Okay.
So they encourage you to kick the ball off.
Yeah.
But there's some rules that you have to make sure that you abide by. The hits, though, I'll tell you that they are not throwing the flag so easily on some big hits.
Okay.
Which you could look at either way. But man, there were some huge hits this week that I thought were incredible.
Okay.
Honestly. I enjoyed that, and I enjoyed the point after the way that they do it. Which, if you didn't know,
yeah, I did. I saw that.
Yeah,
That's cool. Tell everybody if they haven't seen it.
Yeah, if you haven't seen it, it's you basically have to go for a conversion.
No kicks on
no
extra point.
kicks on extra point. So you
no
have,
extra point kicks, whatever.
Yeah. So from the 2-yard line, it is 1 point. So you can snap the ball from the 2-yard line. And then from the 5-yard line, it's a 2-point conversion. And from the 10-yard line, it's a 3-point conversion. So it keeps you in the game the whole time as well. So just from watching, it's just kind of funny. Teams that stuck out to me, if anybody cares, The DC Defenders were really good. They had a really good defense in Cardell
Who'd
Jones.
they play?
I can't remember who they played off the top of my head right now. The New York Guardians were really good. They have a really cool logo if anybody cares about logos, but they have a gorilla. And Matt McGloin was their quarterback, and he had a great game. And I really enjoyed the Battlehawks, which my folks are from St. Louis. And so I've adopted them as my team for the XFL, and in fact, already got tickets to go, or have made plans to go with my family. And here's a crazy thing, Dan. So a couple just logistical stats about it. They sold more tickets in one day than the Alliance of American Football did their whole season.
Okay. Well, that's good.
Yep.
It didn't look like anybody was there at anything.
Well, that's the problem is that they're using. I mean, MetLife Stadium holds 100,000 people.
Right.
There's 18,000 people there for that game, so it's quite a few. Same at the ballpark in Arlington. There was about that much. St. Louis Battlehawks expect 33,000 fans their first game, which is really interesting. So I don't know. I hope that it can. I hope that it can sustain itself. I think that because it's on the network, which I thought was a great product. I really did. I thought the way that ESPN and Fox Sports 1 did it was great. I thought it was top notch.
Well, here's what I liked about it is I don't know if the game is going to keep me interested, but all the the play calling, the huddle, the coaches, that inside stuff that we're seeing, everybody mic'd up. I was intrigued by it. It kept me watching longer than I might have normally.
Sure.
Because the games I saw, they're
slow.
I just didn't get that fired up about it. But I think that I am not as big an NFL fan as you are.
Right.
I am a massive Dallas Cowboy fan.
Sure.
But other than Cowboy games and the playoffs, I just don't watch a lot of NFL.
Sure.
I mean, even if there's a really good game on that I know is going to be really good, I usually don't watch it.
Yeah, and I'm like, I gotta watch. I tune in for 49ers Seahawks.
See, and I'm that way with.
You're not gonna watch.
I'm
49ers
that college
Seahawks.
football.
Yeah,
I'll watch any college game. I'll watch UCO play Northeastern for crying out loud. I love the college game, but pros I don't know.
But to me, it actually felt like the pace of a college game to me, a little bit, and that was the good thing. Also, the longest game was 2.5 hours this week, and so
that's good.
They kind of know their bread and butter is like, we got to keep this quick, otherwise nobody is gonna watch it all. Because they do have some things that they're going to have to compete against with March Madness coming in the Masters. Like, those weekends could be make-or-break weekends. But their viewership, they were number one on cable television on Sunday afternoon. They had 3.3 million viewers on average throughout their telecast. So, I mean, it's not like blow you out of the water ratings by any means.
Yeah.
But in this day and age where there's so much television to be watched, I actually think that they have a chance at lasting because, it's still football. There are people that just eat, breathe football. I'm one of those people.
Yeah.
So,
which I'm kind of ready for a break, though. For some reason, after the Super Bowl's over with, I'm just like, I love football, and and I don't want it to be over, but when it is over, I'm like, okay, August comes around, I'll be the first in line. But right now, I'm like, okay. I
get that feeling too, and it's like, I know that. All right, we just got off the Super Bowl, which I don't know. But it also feels like football to me is becoming more of like people talk about it year round anymore. With the draft and all of that, with free agency, with mini camps.
It's a lot.
NFL has created such a product that
the combine.
All of those things they have almost turned it into a year-round sport without it being a year-round sport. You know, I mean, it lasts half a year. It's 25 weeks of the year, like when you include playoffs. And
that is half a year.
Yeah. So.
And then you got combine, and then the draft, and
yeah.
Then you got the trades, and
yeah.
It's.
So I get it.
Yeah, I think it just. I don't know. It just. I get oversaturated, and my wife will probably go, "What?" Oh, but
that's a funny story.
Yeah.
I'm watching the XFL on Saturday, and Jessica said, "So is this the championship for the XFL?"
I heard her say that.
Yeah,
yes,
and I said, "No, that's." Oh yeah, you were there when
she
said that.
said that. Yeah.
Yeah, and I said, "No, it's just the beginning." And her eyeballs like almost came out of her face. Like, what the heck? We just had the football season end, and
you're already back.
Yeah, and I'm a little obsessive, obviously, but I'm also mad at baseball right now.
Well. So switching gears for a second.
Yeah.
I only caught the tail end of what. So what's going on? I know what's going on, but tell me what's new with the Astros thing.
Well, and to be honest with you, a lot of stuff came out today, and
that's what I thought.
Yeah, and I hadn't got to the chance to take a deep dive into it. But the thing that I saw was that you had two of their best players come and give half-hearted apologies. Like scripted apologies.
Okay.
And then their owner said he kind of made a verbal gaffe in saying that their cheating didn't really change the outcomes of the game. And so one of the reporters said, "What did you just say?" kind of. And he said, "Oh, it didn't change, or it did change the outcome of the game." And so all of this to be said, they just look like the worst people in the world right now.
What's going to happen with all this?
I don't know.
You think they're going to strip them?
They might. Like, there's so many people.
I think that would be stupid.
I don't think it would be.
Well, I don't. I just think it'll kill baseball.
Oh yeah, I think now
it's already trouble. It's already trouble.
I think baseball's in trouble right now, no matter what.
Well, I just think if you taint it, I don't know. Do you think by stripping them, it's going to create more controversy so people will watch it?
I think that there's a lot of people calling out for justice right now.
Yeah,
and I think that some people would actually like them to strip them.
Well, because there's
title.
Not that many Astro fans, I could see that. But
I don't know.
If this was the Yankees or the Red Sox, I don't think we'd be having this discussion.
It is no. I think if it was to the level that is, and it is crazy to me. Like, it's so sad because that was the year that a Hurricane Harvey just had happened.
Right.
They were all about Houston strong and all of that, and then all of a sudden, we're hearing 5 years later or whatever it is, 3 years, whatever it is, I can't remember.
2015, wasn't it?
That
yeah.
They're cheaters.
Yeah.
And they really are. I think that whatever justice
they proved all this, right?
Yeah. They're guilty.
Okay.
So it is interesting. I'm interested to see.
Does the manager still have his job?
No, he lost his job. The manager got fired. The GM got fired. And the two players that were on the team, or one player and a bench coach that were on the team got fired from their job that they had established.
Why did the player lose his job?
Carlos Beltran is the player, and he played on the team. He got hired by the Mets, and the Mets were like, we don't want you if you're a cheater.
Huh.
So
they cut him?
Yeah, they fired him. Yep. So kind of crazy a little bit how this has gone. And baseball, like we just said, can't afford this. They cannot.
Adams just sunk a half-court shot.
Did he really?
Yeah.
Steven Adams.
At the half, and he did a little, whatever that little dance thing is.
Oh, he's the man.
Yeah.
I love Steven Adams.
Yeah.
Chris Paul, an all-star this weekend.
Really?
Yes, he did make the all-star team.
Interesting.
Yes.
Did Westbrook or James Harden make it?
I think Russell might have.
Yeah.
I'm not really sure.
I bet Durant did.
Zach, if you're listening, or Peyton, please tell us. You're
the NBA gurus.
NBA gurus.
The gurus.
Yeah, definitely. definitely not an NBA guru. I'm a Thunder fan for sure.
Yeah, I'm
but
definitely not an NBA.
I can't.
Self-proclaimed.
Yeah. Can't really. It's hard for me to get into like those TNT games in the middle of the week. I think, but anyway, so. But yeah, we got a lot to talk. We have some to talk about tonight.
Let's tell you what we're going to do tonight. So, a few weeks ago, was it ESPN that came out with their top 11, or was it just college football?
It was ESPN, kind of through their
top 150. They cycled through it, and then they came up with their top 11, which they announced at the national championship game.
Yeah, that's correct. That's what happened. It was at the national championship game.
Was it?
Yep.
Okay.
It was halftime.
So. I don't remember what the list was, but I thought you and I had a little bit indifference on some of the people.
Yeah, there were a
top
couple.
11.
Yeah,
some were similar, but some were like. So we thought, what the heck? We're going to come up with our own. And Kyle and I's maybe differ a little bit, but we just put a Facebook question out there. My wife listed. She listed the top OSU. Did you list the top college football players or just OSU's when you put out on Facebook?
I think she just did OSU.
Oh, okay, well, I just now thought about that. What was the question?
All I did was best. I put the best players of all time on my
college football.
Yes.
Okay.
And then, by the way, Peyton just said both Westbrook and Harden did make the All-Star game this year. Not surprising. So.
Well, whoop-de-hoo.
So anyway, do you want to?
Well, we came up with our top 11.
Yeah.
Which I did not include anybody after or before 1960 because and really fairly probably didn't see anybody in the 60s. I saw footage, but the Red Grange, the Jim Thorpes, the Horning, was Doak Walker, all those that played in. Before the 60s, I did not include. So I'm just going off the last, let's say, 60 years, basically. And it may not be fair, but it's my list, so I do whatever the heck I want to do.
You do whatever you want, yeah.
So I will tell you now that almost everybody's list, except for the one that we saw on TV that day, the ESPN's or whatever, can I go ahead and say who they listed? Who almost everybody listed as number one player.
I don't have my list is very similar to yours. I'm just gonna add kind of maybe some things that I thoughts that I had or guys that I could maybe add to it. I think your list is perfect.
Okay, so I'm gonna my list, and then we're gonna let Kyle add to that.
Yeah.
But then on almost everybody's list that I saw, the number one player, college football player of all time, Herschel Walker.
Yeah.
Herschel wins the Heisman his junior year. He probably should have won it his freshman year. They won a national championship in, I think it was 1980, which was his freshman year, if I'm correct.
Sure, okay.
And then, of course, his pro career really had nothing to do with this, but he also was one of the best players to ever play in the USFL, which he was drafted by the New Jersey Generals.
Right.
The Dallas Cowboys. I think he played with the Eagles. He definitely played with the Minnesota Vikings.
I knew that, yeah.
Even though what our list has nothing to do with what they did in pros. I remember watching him, and I remember them designing counter plays to fake to him that the whole student body would go wherever Herschel went. So it was like it was such a decoy that everybody thought he was going to get the ball. When they went the opposite direction, it was like 10 players going towards Herschel,
right?
Who was the worst tackler on the team, who got just throttled.
Sure.
I mean,
he's still in great shape.
He is though. He's like 50-something years old. Yeah. He's still doing 1,000 push-ups a day.
Yeah,
and he looks the same.
Yeah, he tried to go in the MMA. And try to do that whole deal.
Yeah.
Dude, he was a stud. And I didn't get to watch him with my own eyeballs, but he obviously there's stories of people that he was just the best.
And so Herschel Walker, okay, and then I only had 2 defensive players. I probably should have had more because, and maybe you can chime in. I didn't include Dick Butkus. I didn't include Ndamukong Suh.
Ndamukong Suh, yeah.
I didn't include him, although I came close to it. But I just felt like there were 2 other defensive players that were better than him.
Yeah.
And this is who I came up with. Charles Woodson.
Yes.
Michigan won the Heisman Trophy. He's like one of the last defensive players.
Yeah, was the last one to do it.
Win it on defense, and I don't think there's only been like 3 in the entire history of the Heisman to win it. But he was also a two-way player. He could return punts. He was a wide receiver. And somebody similar to him, although I think was a much better, certainly a better pro athlete, was Deion Sanders.
Deion.
Yep.
And he went to Miami.
He went to Florida State.
Florida State.
Yep.
Who was I thinking that went to Miami?
Well, there was a lot of.
Did Michael Irvin go to Miami?
Michael Irvin went to
that's
Miami.
Right. Yeah,
I
mixed them up.
Warren Sapp was at Miami. Russell Maryland was at Miami. Who was the other guy that was at Miami? Ray Lewis played at Miami.
Yes. Yeah.
So and Ray Lewis, arguably could have been on that list. I just chose not to because I just thought the offensive players were so overwhelming. Okay, so those are 3 of my 11. Bo Jackson.
Yes, definitely.
I mean, probably the best athlete to ever play college football.
Sure.
I mean, he played professional baseball. He and if the 30 for 30 segment they do, there's a deal on him about what a freak of nature he was. Just as a kid, just like a 15-year-old kid, is all the stuff he did that just turned people's heads. So. Oh
yeah, I mean, to me, just talking about Bo Jackson, well, first of all, he was a super technomobile, just monster.
Yeah, he was.
But
unstoppable.
He was unstoppable, but that's who he was, though.
Yeah,
he was unstoppable
he
until he got a
career-ending
injury. But I'll never forget him, just his arm in baseball either, throwing people out from the warning track and doing his little run across on the side of the wall. Like, he was incredible. And I don't think anybody would dispute him on that list, and I don't think anybody did, really. So, who you got next?
Okay, next, Jim Brown.
Jim Brown.
I just couldn't leave him off.
Sure, you can't do that.
I mean,
right.
He was definitely in the argument of one of the greatest NFL players of all time. The list that we saw had Jim Brown number 1.
Yes,
the one that the
yeah.
I did not agree with that, but I did agree with him probably being in the top 11.
Sure.
Did you have him on it?
He would have. I don't know. It's just because it feels like it's a different era.
Yeah.
That everybody was running at that time. I don't know if I would have put him on my list, honestly, just because it's like, okay, he's so good. It's like Wilt Chamberlain almost.
Yeah.
To me.
Yeah.
Like, not a lot of people put Wilt on their list because he changed, and it's not probably fair.
Yeah.
To him, but it's like he changed an era, and it was just different. The game was played different back then, and I think probably Jim Brown would still be a great running back. I
think
now.
I lied because I said not before 60, and I think his senior year was 57.
Sure, it still counts.
It counts. So, okay. Earl Campbell, University of Texas.
Oh, gosh, so good.
I mean, he was.
Yeah.
He was the most dominating run back of his era, without a doubt.
Yeah, a lot of people were comparing, Derrick Henry to Earl Campbell for a second. They're this little run that he's been on this year.
Yeah.
Of just running over people, and he's so athletic and so fast and so big. Too.
And Tony Dorsett.
Tell me about Tony Dorsett.
Well, first of all, he has the longest run in NFL history, 99 yards. Yeah, which will never be broken.
Nope, can't be. Impossible.
Heisman Trophy winner, 1976, University of Pittsburgh, national championship team, Super Bowl champion in NFL. But he's just one of those guys that can hit the hole so fast that he was past the line of scrimmage before defense never knew where he was. I mean, he was really kind of the first of his kind as far as the explosive acceleration. And you can't. I mean, I don't remember. Was he in that top 11? He was, wasn't he?
Yeah, I think
I believe he was.
Yeah.
So we haven't gotten too different. And then I got Archie Griffin, who's the only 2-time.
Has to be on your list, no doubt about it.
Even if you don't agree, 2-time Heisman Trophy winner, and an era. I don't have an much. It's like oil. It's all. Just a time frame. What was 72 or 73, 74? Back-to-back Heisman trophies. Never been done since. And there's plenty of times it could have probably given back-to-back Heisman since then. But I almost think that the Heisman committee will never allow that to happen again.
Sure.
Unless you just come up with somebody that's just, hands down.
Yeah.
But Ohio State, you Buckeye guys, I'm sure that all the Ohio State fans out there think that every Heisman Trophy they've had should be in the top 11.
Yeah,
I'm sure.
Oh yeah, definitely.
They're like in the same class as OU.
They are my least favorite fans in college football. I still love
Ohio
some
State's?
of my friends. Yeah, that are Ohio State fans, but yeah, I do not like Ohio State. Oh, how I hate Ohio State.
Hey, Jeff Folks is out there. He's joined in. He's the big Chiefs
Jeff,
guy.
we did it.
I think he was out of country when they played in the
Let's
Super
go.
Bowl.
I got my champs hat on. If anybody can't tell, but my champions hat is on.
A UCO fellow Hall of Famer there.
Yes.
And, big Kansas City Chiefs fan, and he's probably still celebrating from that victory like you are.
Oh, yeah.
Yep.
Still feel the buzz.
I'm not even sure Jeff's come up for air yet. So.
Yeah, right. Golly.
So I've got 3 left on my list.
Let's go.
Okay. Tim Tebow.
Yes, he's on my list.
I was surprised he wasn't in that top 11.
I was too.
Yeah.
And I don't he is to me, I mean, the best college quarterback of my era. It's bar none to me. Like, he is college football to us millennials. Like, he changed it almost. Like, to me, he was the best, and I can't, I can't not have him on my list.
Well, I'd agree with you.
Yeah.
And he kind of was he was kind of a game changer as well. He was before. No, he wasn't before Vince Young, but he just created a different dimension to the game. And kind of that physical quarterback that could run over you and still throw the football halfway decent.
You know what I learned this week? You know Taysom Hill from the Saints?
Uh-huh.
That was what Sean Payton wanted to do with Tim Tebow, and Tim Tebow said no.
Okay.
I was like, hearing that, I was like, no way. Because he would have been perfect, and he could have stayed in the league longer that way.
Yeah. He could have played a long time.
Oh, yeah, he could have.
Yeah.
He could have.
Yeah, I like him. I like Taysom Hill. Yeah.
Oh, man. Yeah. So, anyway, there was just a thought.
Okay. And, of course, I'm going to have to put my all-time favorite player ever on this college football list. The first one is a junior to ever win the Heisman Trophy. Roger Staubach. Yep. Definitely the innovator of mobile quarterbacks.
Yeah.
The Roger the Dodgers, where he got that term when he was at Navy. And then, what even makes it more phenomenal, I know this is after his collegiate career, but he goes and serves his country for 4 years before he ever plays it down of pro football.
He carried out what he was.
That will never happen now.
No.
Never.
No.
But, putting his country before his commitment before playing ball.
Sure.
What he did do, and I may have said this on the show before, is he took his leave every year around training camp, and he would go to training camp every year until he actually got out of the Navy.
Wow.
Yeah. Every year went to training camp for 2 weeks or whatever.
That's crazy.
Yeah. And then the last one, and I would arguably put him the greatest of all time with Herschel Walker, is Barry Sanders.
Barry Sanders, for sure.
I mean, I had the distinct honor of watching him play live in person, and he was just phenomenal.
Well, he put Oklahoma State on the map.
He did.
That Stillwater, Oklahoma is what it is because of who Barry Sanders is.
Pretty much, yep.
And
they were a really good football team. They also had Hartley Dykes as their wide receiver in that era, and also Mike Gundy. I'm a man. I'm 40.
He was 20 back then.
He was pretty young. But he had that arrogance, that cockiness about him that made them who they were. And not for one play against OU, and perhaps a little bit better offensive mind, an aggressive-minded coach, they might have been in contention for a national title that year because they only lost 2 games, and it was to Nebraska.
Yeah,
everybody loses Nebraska and everybody loses
for
to OU.
Sure.
Yeah, and in the game against the Sooners, the wide receiver drops the pass in the end zone to win the game, or they win that game.
Dang.
So, and that was after getting a 15-yard unsportsmanlike conduct penalty on 4th down, where the defensive player actually dragged the offensive player out of bounds, but they called it on the offensive player, called the unnecessary roughness. Yeah. Well, OU.
Classic OU stuff.
Yeah. So I thought it'd be interesting. Oh, let's add you. What do you got?
Couple thoughts or a couple guys that I would say.
In addition,
could you add them to your list or add them to one of the greatest? Would you say Peyton Manning? Would he be up there on your list?
I don't know why you would exclude him. I mean, he did everything. He played for 4. I mean, there's not very many college quarterbacks that go 4 years and have the success he had in 4 years.
Yes, correct.
I mean, yeah, I'd put him. I'd probably consider.
But he never won a national title, so like.
So well, some of these guys didn't win.
Well,
Let's see. Just think about it. Staubach didn't win a national title.
Sure.
Bo Jackson didn't win a national title.
There's a bunch that didn't.
Earl Campbell didn't win a national title. Barry Sanders didn't win a national title. Jim Brown didn't win a national title. I don't think Charles Woodson might have won a national title.
So Peyton, to me, could be on that list.
Could be. Who'd you take if of this list I have? Who would you bump out of there to put?
I don't think that's the thing. Is like I don't think I can bump anybody for Peyton.
Yeah.
You know.
You just have 12.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Is like I'm trying to I'm just trying to say, could you make arguments?
Sure, I would.
Maybe put.
I could.
Yeah. What about Johnny Manziel? So here's the thing. There's a couple guys.
If you took us, let me interrupt you. If you could take all the antics out.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
Yep. Like, because there's a couple guys that I'm like, okay, because they have a bad rep, really, they're not going to be in that. Johnny Manziel's one of them.
Here he won the Heisman, would have to consider him.
Yes.
But then you'd also have to consider Vince Young.
Yeah, I would.
Yeah.
I mean, that was one of mine that I was going to ask. The other one, or another one is Reggie Bush. And you say no.
Yeah.
Because he, again, alleged.
I don't think it was alleged.
Stuff. Yeah, I don't think it was.
They got stripped of the Heisman Trophy. I don't think it was alleged.
But to me, he was so good on the field and when he did off the field, I am not a fan of them vacating those titles.
Yeah.
I mean, especially in a day and age now where it's like, okay, at some level
there's
ways
everywhere. around it. There's infractions everywhere. Yeah.
So to me, it's like they just really got caught. That's just
well. But let me ask you this, and I kind of side with you a bit, but if they don't have all this luxury to it's kind of like SMU, right?
Right.
Because SMU, no way they get to national prominence in the '80s without all this money.
Sure.
So if you take all the perks away from these players, is Reggie Bush as good when he's not surrounded by that cast? Is Eric Dickerson as good as he was, or Craig James? Were they as good as they were?
I don't know.
Without having the money to surround them, that's my question.
Yeah, to me, Reggie Bush was a talent, though.
He was. But would he been able to win the Heisman Trophy without being surrounded by Lindell White?
Probably not.
And
Matt
Leinart and
Mike Williams.
We got money to buy you, but we can't buy everybody else. Sure. And that's where most college. And I don't know how much is going on today, but I promise you it's going on to some degree in how they're hiding it. But there's reasons, and yes, Alabama's got a really good coach, and they've got tradition, but you can't tell me there isn't something funky going on there.
Right. Oh, yeah, I agree. I think that where there's smoke, there's fire, for sure.
And we know back in the 80s, everybody was doing it. For sure.
Yeah.
And Texas and A&M's and OU's got upset with SMU stealing all their players, so they basically told everybody their tricks. This is what we're doing, and they're doing it too.
To me,
they heard them all.
To me, one of the best 30 for 30s, by the way, is Pony Express.
Oh, it's great.
So good.
It's great.
Okay. How about an underrated guy that maybe people don't think of?
Okay.
Larry Fitzgerald.
Yeah, he was on one list. Yeah.
Larry Fitzgerald was so good at his time at Pittsburgh. Almost won the Heisman as a wide receiver. There's not a lot of Heisman
not anymore.
even talk about wide receivers. Larry Fitzgerald was incredible to me, and he's kept that longevity for so long. Now, that doesn't matter in this discussion, but he was dynamite for Pittsburgh.
I loved him playing in college. He was certainly a great NFL. Still is halfway deep. He's still playing, right? Did he retire?
Yep.
Yeah. Still is. You got to cover the guy.
Yeah, you do.
So I would probably consider him. I don't think he's a top 11 guy.
Here's one for me though.
Okay.
Tommy Frazier.
Yeah, I knew it was coming. And he was on a lot of lists. In fact, I think he was like top 5 in one list.
Yeah.
No Heisman.
No Heisman.
Yep.
A lot of national championships, or a couple national championships.
Yeah.
Best option quarterback, maybe ever.
I don't know. I got one I might argue.
Who did you say?
Jamel Holloway.
Jamel Holloway. Okay. Who did he? I don't even know who he
played
for.
at OU. It's an 85 team. He's the one that benched Troy Aikman, basically.
Man.
So forced Aikman to transfer. Which
Gotcha.
kind of segues. Is that all your?
I think so. Yeah.
Okay. So those are compelling arguments. Peyton Manning, Johnny Manziel, Vince Young, Reggie Bush, Larry Fitzgerald, and Tommy Frazier. But then again, I'm not sure any of those would kick out any of the 11 that I initially listed.
No, I don't think so either.
If you were to go more modern, maybe you kick out Jim Brown and Roger Staubach and put Manziel into Staubach's place.
But I don't want to do that.
But I don't want to. No. I ain't going to do it. And then maybe Earl Campbell. But who do you put in his place? So I don't know. Peyton, maybe. That's it.
Maybe. Yeah. That's it. Yep.
Okay, so I thought it'd be interesting. I sent a message out to some of our OSU and OU friends of the show.
Fans. Yep.
Yeah, to list their top 5s. And I got some interesting feedback.
Sure.
And let me get over here to it. So our good friend Toby Anderson, big OSU guy. He had an interesting list, and let me see if I can find it.
Our resident OSU.
Yeah, our resident.
Besides,
I don't know if he's
besides
resident.
yourself.
Yeah, but I don't know if I'd call it resident.
He's a guest. On the show.
He's a big
friend of the show. We'll say that.
Friend of the show, friend of ours. So here's his list. Okay, Barry Sanders. It's a given.
Yes.
Thurman Thomas.
Okay.
Okay. Des Bryant.
Yes.
All those 3 I agreed with.
Sure.
Here's a couple I struggled with, but one I'd probably agree is Leslie O'Neal, which was probably the greatest defensive player to ever play at OSU. And he played in the NFL for the Chargers. But he had Walt Garrison on that list. Now, you probably don't know who that is.
I don't even know who that is.
So Walt Garrison was basically the fullback of fullbacks. He played with the Cowboys, the Dallas Cowboys.
Like Corey Schlesinger.
He played, yep. He played in the late 60s, mid-60s, mid-70s, or late 60s, early 70s era. He was the blocking back for Calvin Hill, Dwayne Thomas. I think he'd already retired by the time Dorsett played. But he was also a spokesperson for Skoll. He was a rodeo guy.
All right.
He was old school, tough mentality fullback. But I don't know if I'd put him in my top 5 at OSU. But I when I saw it, I go, wouldn't even thought of Walt Garrison. But I thought that was pretty interesting. And then we have another friend of the show, Jeff Pyatt, who is a longtime supporter of Team Black mentorship. And he's by every event we've ever done, by the way. He's been there since we started.
Awesome.
Yeah, and his kids have lifted in our meets, and he's part of Team Black powerlifting. So he's got Des Bryant, Barry Sanders, Thurman Thomas, Leslie O'Neal, which we talked about, and then Brandon Weeden.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah.
Okay. So that's 4 out of the 5 of Toby's list too.
Yeah,
he
pretty.
He had
yes,
Leslie.
he did.
He had Leslie O'Neal too.
And that was all the OSU ones. Now I'm going to give you my list, which I have Barry and Leslie and Des and Thurman, and I have Brandon. So it wasn't that far off.
No, it really wasn't.
Here was one that I had up for debate, and if any of my OSU people are listening out there, our OSU people, tell me what you think of this. Des Bryant did not have Brandon Weeden for the most. Well, he didn't have him. He didn't have Brandon Weeden. And he got kicked out his senior year or junior year because he supposedly had this dinner with Deion Sanders that he lied about. So if that had been on any other team like OU or Texas, he'd got to play the last 9 games, 10 games of the year. But the NCAA suspended him for his entire last year of college. He didn't have a quarterback that Justin Blackman. With Brandon Weeden.
That's actually what my friend Brad Ellis just posted.
Yeah.
And then that was mine too.
Yeah.
It was like he was incredible.
Yeah.
And if he could have got his act together, he could have been a great
NFL
wide receiver too.
He couldn't miss a every time that ball went to him, he came down with it.
He had one of the best catching radiuses I've seen, just talent-wise.
I think he gets forgot about because he just fizzled out in the NFL.
But
I don't know if if you put Brandon with Dez, I don't know if Dez doesn't just clearly.
Was he not a top 10 pick too?
Yeah, he's like third or fourth.
Yeah, for the Jaguars.
Yes, I think he was like the third or fourth pick overall.
He just couldn't stay out of trouble.
No, he couldn't.
Yeah, so
I don't know. I mean, Justin had Brandon, who in my opinion is the best quarterback in college in OSU history. I mean, and you've got some, that's another debate for OSU guys. I mean, who's your top pick as best quarterback OSU's ever had? It ain't Mason Rudolph.
No, it's probably.
Although he was really good, he's probably number 2 on the list.
Again, Brandon Weeden has to be in the discussion because he put OSU on the map again.
Yeah.
Like those are we talked about Barry Sanders establishing them, but that 2000 that run that they started after I'm a Man, I'm 40.
Yeah. Yep.
Like Brandon Weeden was kind of the poster child for that.
Close,
team,
yeah.
I would say, or like the beginning of a new era before Oklahoma State. So I don't know. I think that's really interesting. Jeff probably out of Rashawn Woods, not O'Neal.
Oh, that's right. That's right. I'm sorry.
Yep, so
Rashawn Woods.
Yes.
Thank you, Jeff. I can't read.
Sure.
I'm the one that said Brandon.
I mean, could you argue already though? Chuba Hubbard could be on this list too.
Well, he might end up that way, but how are you going to put him above? So what are you going to do? List all running backs?
Yeah,
I could argue Terry Miller, which you don't even know that name probably.
I would argue Tyreek Hill.
Well, if he'd have stayed another year, maybe. Of course he is. He's a Chief.
Yes. Let's go.
He certainly had one of the greatest plays in OU history.
Yeah.
But so did Rashawn Woods.
Sure.
They beat OU on one play.
There they go.
And basically Tyreek Hill did it in one play.
Yes. Tyreek's the man.
And Tatum Bell was another one that almost did it in one play. He took an 80 or 90-yard touchdown run to make it a game the year that OU won the national championship. So
do you think bigger play for Tyreek, him beating OU or the jet ship Wasp to change the momentum for the Chiefs?
What's
a bigger play in his career?
Probably Chiefs.
Yeah,
I mean, come on.
I definitely was saying that, but that's pretty crazy how talented Tyreek was.
Oh,
again.
Oh, he single-handedly that year probably won 3 games for.
Oh yeah.
And they were terrible that year. I mean, they barely made a bowl game. In fact, they don't win that game against OSU. They're sitting home.
Oh yeah, nobody cares about that season.
They won the Kansas game single-handedly. He won the OU game single-handedly, and I think there was one other game. They may have been Iowa State. I can't remember. If they won, they should have been like 3-8.
Right,
year.
But Tyreek is the man.
Yeah.
Man.
So those are
cheetah.
interesting. The cheetah. Those are interesting discussions. Terry Miller. He was probably the first of the great tailbacks. He played in the late 70s. They went from 1976 to 1990. 3 maybe 94 before they beat OU. Terry Miller was on the team that beat them in 76, so they shared a Big 8 title with them with OU and Colorado that year. 3-way tie for the Big 8 title.
Man, that's crazy.
Yep. But okay,
OU players.
We did. I sent a text out. Apparently, most of my OU friends. Not that I'm cutting them down, but they didn't all reply. Where my OSU. So that tells you, they're mad at me probably. So let me pull Tim Bilyeu up. Tim is one of the friends of Team Black Mentorship. His kids have lifted with us. Big OU guy. Although he has some issues with Notre Dame as well. He's kind of like Big Nate. Nate's, Ohio State and OU.
Yeah.
Well, Tim is Notre Dame and OU. So
okay.
But
Those are officially 2 of my least favorite schools.
Yeah. We're all in the three between Ohio State, Notre Dame, and OU, right?
Oh yeah. Oh my gosh. I lived in Indiana for.
So he's got
4
guys on his list that I'll give my list here in a second. He had Brian Bosworth on it.
The Boz.
Okay. Adrian Peterson.
Okay.
Billy Sims.
Yes.
Roy Williams, which that's pretty good.
Pretty good.
That's pretty good. And C.D. Lamb.
Interesting.
I thought the first 4 are kind of like okay, but the last
CD
one, I
Lamb.
don't know if he's that. Yeah.
I think Hollywood Brown's better than C.D. Lamb, but that's just
Markel Brown, Hollywood Brown. Yeah, maybe. So I thought that was kind of interesting. And then I got
Baker.
Well, that's funny because I said Not a huge. Oh, I said interesting. That's what I said.
Yeah.
Interesting. No Selmans, Jack Mildred, Baker, Jason White,
Kyler. You
or
could
Kyler
argue
Murray.
for
I
Kyler
thought
Murray.
so. He said not a huge fan. Not a huge Baker fan. He's a bit of a d-bag. I could see Dewey Selman, although Dewey was the worst of the three Selmans, but he doesn't remember him playing much. So here's my list.
Okay.
I wished we could have gotten more feedback from OU players. I thought it would have been interesting.
Sure.
But I got Jack Mildred on that list because Jack was the grandfather of the wishbone for OU. He brought it into existence
Yeah.
in the 71 season, I believe, is when they introduced that, 70 or 71. By the way, OU fans cannot take credit for the wishbone. It was actually invented by an offensive coordinator from University of Texas named Emory Ballard. He's the one that installed the wishbone in
Interesting.
Texas.
I thought maybe it was his last name was Wishbone. But
No, it wasn't. But anyway, he went on to coach Texas A&M later after that. So, and by the way, James Street was the first quarterback to ever win the national championship, University of Texas, for the wishbone. So, I got Adrian Peterson on that list.
Okay.
I have Leroy Selman, who was number 1 draft pick overall in that 75 or 76 for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers expansion team. So
where
and he's
most players went to die back in the day.
Yeah, they did. The creamsicle uniforms.
Yes.
And also is in the NFL Hall of Fame. I have my running back on top of Adrian Peterson is Joe Washington.
Joe Washington.
The Silver Slippers. You don't remember those, do
No.
you? So he painted his shoes silver. Silver
Sweet.
Slippers. Little Joe is what his nickname was. He was absolute rock star. Kind of come in that same era as mid-70s, early 70s.
Johnny Rogers.
Johnny
around
Rogers,
then.
yep. And then Greg Pruitt was another one, early 70s guy. I didn't put him on my list, but he certainly, I gave it some thought between him. But I didn't consider Billy Sims. I can't tell you why. Maybe just because you
don't like his barbecue.
Yeah, maybe that's it.
It's too expensive.
Looks like we're not getting indoors. We're not getting any promotes from Billy Sims.
Our friend Peyton Means, who's also a big OU fan.
Yes, he is.
He says Adrian Peterson.
Yeah.
Gerald McCoy.
That's interesting.
Yep.
Okay.
Roy Williams.
Yeah.
The Boz.
Yeah.
And DeMarco Murray. DeMarco Murray is pretty solid.
Yeah. I don't know.
So
I mean, those are good lists. And I had one more on the list that I mentioned earlier, which to me was one of the best wishbone quarterbacks of all time. That was Jamel Holloway. Because if that team does not, by the way, let me give you a little background here. So Troy Aikman's the starting quarterback going into that season. They're beating Miami, and he goes down with a broken leg. Jamel comes in. They end up losing that game. But Barry had completely switched the offense for Troy, which was basically a drop-back passer for the most part. And when Jamel came in, they went back to the wishbone. They go on to win the national title. Not quite sure Troy's able to pull that off just because they didn't have the personnel package at OU to win the national title that year. But Jamel comes in, and he was phenomenal wishbone quarterback. I mean, and he could throw the ball a little bit. So I put him in my top 5 with OU. So anyway, that was kind of an interesting debate.
Yeah, absolutely.
You haven't been around here these parts enough to call
no,
that top 5.
I know. I could tell you my top 5 Chiefs, but that's about it. So,
what are your top 5 Chiefs?
Oh, so
can you do it without listing 20?
I can. Yeah, right.
Can you do it without listing this year's team?
Sure. I think Derek Thomas.
Okay.
Number 1.
Yeah.
For me.
Yeah.
Patrick Mahomes would be number 2.
Okay.
And then I would say Priest Holmes. Neil Smith was really good.
Yeah.
And Will Shields, probably number 5.
No Nigerian Nightmare?
No. No, he is great, but
No Lenny Dawson? No
Lynn
Otis
Dawson,
Taylor?
Lynn Dawson probably deserves to be on that list, obviously, but
Otis Taylor?
I'm thinking more
Ed
my
Podolak.
era. Man, you're just saying all these.
I know, before you even born.
Will Shields was like a 13-time Pro Bowler.
He is a Lawton guy.
Is he really?
Lawton, Oklahoma.
I didn't know that.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, yeah, that was the first 5 that came to my mind. Anyway, Tony Gonzalez. Definitely
how
should
can
be
you
on
leave
that
out Tony Gonzalez?
I did. Tony Gonzalez deserves to be on that list for sure.
Joe Montana?
Also, Tony Gonzalez kind of kind of gave a stiff arm to Kansas City a couple of years ago in his Hall of Fame
Did he?
interview.
He was mad because they let him go?
No, he said Kansas City was great, but Atlanta really kind of completed my career, and it's where I grew up. I was like, no, you didn't. Like, anyway, so he kind of made us Chiefs fans mad, I would
Yeah,
say.
I bet.
Yep. Anyway.
It's kind of like Staubach giving all the credit to, like Bill Kilmer or something.
Sure. Lynn Dawson does deserve to be on that list. But
Lenny
again,
Dawson.
He's definitely, I never got to watch him play. So, anyway. Derek Thomas, though, I remember just clips of him just being an absolute nightmare for people.
Refresh my memory. Was he still playing when he was in the wreck, when he was in the auto accident?
I think he had just retired. Yeah, if I'm not mistaken. And I was
remember.
in Kansas City that day that it happened, actually.
Yeah.
It was a really snowy day, if I remember.
Yeah, I don't
anyway,
remember that part. Okay.
Yeah, so do we want to move on to maybe our Mount Rushmore of pizza joints in OKC?
Let's do that. And I set some parameters for Kyle and I on this.
Yes.
And you can certainly, our listening audience can chime in. Absolutely, the on the list is banned is any franchise pizzas. They are not allowed on this list.
Yeah, no Domino's, no Pizza Hut, no Papa
Marco's,
John's.
Godfather's, Papa John's, Pie Fives, Hideaway. I considered putting on the list if they not just branched out in like 25 locations.
Right,
now.
yeah, they are kind of a chain now.
They're kind of a chain, so none of those are allowed on the list. If they have, let's say, a couple locations and they're pretty isolated, then I said okay, because I'm gonna break, roll here just for a second. I say roll. I said Oklahoma City.
Right.
I at the end I want to give in Oklahoma because I think the one that I list in Oklahoma is better than the ones in Oklahoma City.
Okay.
Maybe I shouldn't do that because maybe they want us to come on and do a podcast in our show one day.
Maybe.
I should just keep it in Oklahoma City.
Yeah.
I'll save that for another show. Okay, so our question is, what is your favorite pizza in Oklahoma City that is not a franchise name brand pizza? And frozen pizza doesn't count. Can't use DiGiorno's or Tito's or Totino's or Tony's or any of those. So I'm gonna let you list your. Let's go back. Let's go back and forth. So you list one for you.
Okay. My number one is Empire.
Okay.
Empire Slice.
Empire Slice House.
Yes. So good.
It is.
Empire's my favorite. They got unique pizza. It's good. It's tasty. It's great. And they give you the pink sauce as well.
Ew.
That makes it even better.
Is that the combination of the red and white?
Yes.
I'm
not a fan.
Not a fan.
Okay.
It's either or. Make a decision.
Fair enough.
You millennials try to split everything up. Just kidding.
Tamara says Empire Slice. Too.
Yeah. Well, she would, and I would agree. The top five. I don't know if I agree with my overall. Maybe.
Okay.
In Oklahoma City, maybe.
All right.
But it definitely really good. And one of the few places you can buy a slice of pizza and I have to buy the whole pie.
It's great.
Because if you do, you're probably not going to have any money left for that.
Sure,
right. So, but they're a little pricey, but that's okay. I'm willing to pay for quality. So.
Yeah, absolutely.
But they're in the what district is that?
The Plaza
District. Yep. Off of 16th, right?
Correct.
16th and Blackwell, around that area.
Yep.
And they moved from their original location, which was kind of confined. It's a bigger location now, and just a half a block away, or maybe just like 100 feet away or something.
Yeah, it's so good.
Yeah, it's really good. Okay, I'm going to list one of mine, if I can read my writing down here. So one of my favorites is Papa Angelo's.
Papa A's.
Papa Angelo's in Bethany, been around a long time. They have it by the slice as well at lunch, and it's got a great crispness to the crust. It's in one of those old pizza ovens. It's not a brick oven, but it's one of those old pizza ovens.
Yeah.
That's one of the things I kind of have a little bit of problem with on your authentic pizza places is to have a conveyor oven. I don't like the conveyors.
You're not a fan.
But I think it's good, with your franchises and the way it's cooked and because you're doing it fast and whatever. But when you're going to an authentic pizza place, having it in a conveyor just kind of like, what? Why are you doing that?
Yeah.
It's kind of like microwaving a hamburger.
Yeah, don't do that. Don't do that.
So, all right. So, okay.
My next one is Hall's Pizza Kitchen.
Yes.
Hall's Pizza Kitchen is good. It's again kind of it's kind of like a upscale kind of pizza joint. It's in a really cool building.
Yep.
Um,
Started out as a food truck.
yeah, and it's fresh cheese.
Yep.
Not that these other places aren't, but like it's just really good. And I love Hall's Pizza Kitchen.
Have you
for
had their
sure.
cookies?
I have. They're really
Ah.
good. Stupid good.
The bomb.
So go to Hall's Pizza Kitchen. That's a good one.
Okay. So I'm going to throw a new one into here because you hadn't heard of it yet, but really good fresh ingredients is Bira Pizza, and it's over in the Chisholm Creek area next to Top Golf,
Top Golf,
Fuzzy's
all that.
Tacos, and what is the other one? I can't remember all the places over there.
Uncle Julio's,
Julio's, yeah.
iFly, that
Yep,
area.
all that
Yep.
area right there, and they just it's fresh. They also have a homemade ice cream place connected to it, where you
Really?
can get, and they do some.
That's a game changer for me.
They do it. They also do like a homemade cookie with the ice cream with the caramel sauce or fudge or whatever you want. It's like,
Dang.
yeah, it'll kill you.
Okay.
It'll kill
Okay.
you. And their sides are pretty good, or their appetizers are
Yeah,
really good
this
too.
is not good for my diet, by the way, right now.
Are you still on your diet?
Yeah, I'm
Yeah,
down. I'm down 14
I
pounds.
was going to say it. Well, I thought you'd lost a little bit of weight.
Yes,
You
I
look good.
have. I'm going to keep at
You're
it.
looking better.
Yes.
All right. What else?
I would say Upper Crust.
Okay.
That place is pretty good. It's more of a thin crust pizza. They
New
just keep
York
it simple.
style.
Yeah, and they
Kinda
also
New
have
York.
they have a really good Italian nachos there too, which that has nothing to do with the pizza, but it's pretty solid.
I
So-
tell you that what I do think of Upper Crust is they may have the best fried cheese
Oh, interesting.
in Oklahoma City. They cut the slices of.
Oh yeah,
mozzarella and do
that
it.
place is real. That is really
Yeah,
good.
Yeah.
Also, here in town, the local has really good mozzarella sticks
Oh.
as well.
Oh,
So
well, I did not
there
know
you go.
that. We might have to. I could think of all kinds of. We can do the best nachos, the best mozzarella
oh
sticks.
yeah, we could for sure.
best. The best queso. I mean,
Yeah, we could.
I think we gotta. I think during the off season of football, we need to have something like that every week. It's kind of like our overvalued, undervalued, or money.
Yes.
Our food segment.
Oh yeah, I feel like we could become a food podcast for
so
sure.
we need to come up with a special name for it though. I don't
Maybe we'll figure it out.
you and I are pretty creative.
Maybe we'll also get some sponsorships out there, and people will
Yeah, there
start
you go. We can
just
be bought.
letting us. Yeah, well, they will just. We'll say we'll review on our podcast.
I will say
give us a
Kyle
free
and I
meal.
cannot be bought. We're not that kind of people unless we're paid.
Right, exactly. Amen. Amen. What's your next one?
You know what? That's all I have.
That's all you got?
Yep. Well, I have a couple I could throw in there, like Joey's.
Joey's, yep.
Yeah, down in the Film District.
Yeah.
And then you had one that used to be.
Yeah, the heat is really
Yep,
good. It used to be
what?
Humble Pie.
Humble Pie.
To me, and this more speaks to where I came from. I love Lou Malnati's pizza in Chicago.
You know, you
which
can
is
order that
deep dish.
delivered.
I know. It's expensive though.
It's like
It's like
$50,
$50,
$60
yeah.
for two
For a
9-inch
pie,
pizzas.
2 pies.
9-inch pizzas.
Gosh, it makes me feel like home though. So I've thought about doing it, pulling the trigger, but anyway, I really like big fan of any deep dish, and they do an okay job. Not the greatest in the world, but at least they actually do it right. So they're on the right track, I would say.
I would. I've had them when they were Humble Pie. I've not had it since they've changed their name. So, but I did like it. I will put it that way.
Yeah. David Carroll, by the way.
Yeah.
Are you ready?
Yeah, go.
Since he's reaching out.
Yeah.
I think he wants us to take the bait
Uh-oh.
a little bit.
Okay.
He said, "Is Coco Beware overrated?"
Absolutely.
Yeah, I know he would say so.
Absolutely. Not a fan.
Not a
Do you know who that is?
Coco Beware?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Okay.
absolutely. He had the parrot.
Yeah.
His
Yeah,
parrot
I
died
just,
in a fire.
What do you think, David? I mean, I'm just not I don't know. I just wasn't a fan.
No,
I never was big in the gimmicky stuff either. So I like.
Well, in that era of wrestling was almost only gimmicks.
Yeah, I know.
For the WWF at that time.
I'm almost it all is now anyway. It's all gimmick, but
it's just different. It's dressed up different.
Gotta remember, I grew up in the '70s wrestling. There wasn't a lot of gimmicks.
No gimmicks.
There was some, but not much.
I think there's way less gimmicks now, to me anyway. There's still some of that, but like that '80s wrestling was just character wrestling.
It was all comic book
Jake
stuff.
the Snake and Ultimate Warrior, and Hulk Hogan was a character. Andre the Giant was a character. Well, he was himself, but like just himself being that big.
He was that character during that time when he went heel.
Yeah, for sure.
That's for true.
Yeah,
but before that,
$1 Million Man, also another.
But
character.
He's one of the first. He's one of the original old school guys.
Yeah, oh yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
Agreed. But it's wild because all while that is happening, you have Ric Flair and Dusty Rhodes and Arn Anderson.
At the road.
All those guys.
At the road. I eat pork and beans, dine with King Queen, baby.
Ricky Steamboat.
Ricky was and he had a gimmick too. The dragon thing was kind of gimmicky.
Sure, but it wasn't his. I don't know. Anyway, Bruiser Brody rules forever. David Carroll. Bruiser Brody.
Bruiser Brody was stabbed and killed in Puerto Rico in the late '80s, and they never arrested. They had witnesses and never arrested the guy that did it. It was basically premeditated. He lured the guy into the back room of the shower or something and just pulled a knife on him, stabbed him.
Yeah,
that was sad.
That's crazy.
He's a West Texas State guy, by the way.
West Texas State.
West Texas State. You know who else was a West Texas State guy? Ted DiBiase. You know who else was a West Texas State guy?
Dory Funk.
Dusty Rhodes.
You
know who else was a West Texas State guy? Barry Windham. You know who else was a West Texas State guy? Tully Blanchard.
Man.
Blackjack Mulligan.
Wow.
Dory Funk, Terry Funk, Dick Murdoch.
Yeah. Hacksaw Jim Duggan is another one. What do you say?
Overrated? Overrated.
Yeah, I think so too.
You know what? That's probably where we need to do our overvalued, undervalued money days, pro wrestlers.
Yeah. Since
we're there,
we could start there. Yeah,
we might lose our audience. I bet my wife.
Hey, whatever. You know what? It's fine.
Yeah. All right, so I'll get you.
Okay.
And then you come back at me.
All right, you got it.
Overrated, underrated, or money? John Moxley.
Okay. He is right now. Definitely, he's money. Actually, right now.
Yeah.
This character, John Moxley, not Dean Ambrose.
Yeah.
I think he was probably undervalued as Dean Ambrose.
Absolutely.
And now he is in his sweet spot.
He's in stride.
And it's awesome.
Yeah.
I love John Moxley. He's crushing it
now. Are they going to put a title on him?
I don't know. I think he's the right guy to do it, but it's also like...
It's kind of early.
You're just putting WWE he's giving them the belt. But I think John could carry it well, and I think Jericho probably needs a break, honestly.
Probably. Yeah, because he's 50.
Yeah, I think it's probably time to put it on John Moxley.
Maybe they do a back-and-back series like they did with Flair and Dusty Rhodes. Something like that. So,
yep.
Okay. Overvalued, undervalued, or money? Randy Macho Man Savage.
Oh, he's money.
Yeah.
And maybe even undervalued. Because he lived in the shadows of Hulk Hogan a little bit, but he was so technically gifted. He was great as a character. He was a character for sure, but he was really good at what he did. The elbow drop is classic to me. It's one of my favorite moves of all time. His elbow drop specifically, where he's pointing to the sky and all that. Miss Elizabeth storyline was great. I love Macho Man Randy Savage for sure.
So I may be dating you a little bit here.
Yes.
So you may not be able to answer this.
Yes.
Overvalued, undervalued, or money? The NWO angle.
Oh, the NWO angle. I was but a child. I mean, I was 6 or 7.
Yeah.
It definitely was. I mean, just listening to the history of it all and all of that. It was probably overvalued now, looking at it, but it was money then, because it literally was money for the WCW.
Oh yeah.
The part where it jumped the shark eventually, though.
Yeah.
Like when they had 4 different sections of the NWO.
Yeah.
But it was the Outsiders.
Yeah.
With
Hall, Nash,
and Nash. And then the finger poke of death.
Yeah.
Or the finger poke of doom with Hulk Hogan winning the title.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it was pretty awesome. But
Greatest, probably the best heel turn swerve of all time, though.
yeah, because everybody wanted Hulk to go heel
Mm.
in the WWF, and then he finally did it in the
Mm.
WCW. In Hollywood, Hulk
And
Hogan.
nobody saw it coming.
Well, yeah, he became actually a great villain.
Yeah.
Like one of an all-time
And pulled it off.
villain. Yeah.
And pulled it off.
Yeah, he was great.
Yeah.
So,
All right, so hit me.
let's go overvalued, undervalued, or money. Seth Rollins.
So you catch me in an unfair advantage because I don't really tune into the WWE hardly anymore.
Sure.
I don't really care for his character, so I'm going to say overvalued.
Okay.
I think right now the WWE works too hard at trying to force heels and faces.
Sure.
I don't think they let the crowd. I don't think they just let it. And that's why I hate the script writing stuff, because they basically market the stuff for weeks at a time, and it just drives me insane.
So, I would say Seth is probably. He's probably overvalued, but right now he's got a great angle on WWE Monday Night Raw.
Yeah.
So yeah, how about this one? Overvalued or undervalued or money? Brutus the Barber Beefcake.
Again, not a fan. I think that a lot of his stuff was done because Hogan and him were practically brothers. If they weren't really real brothers, I don't think, were they? Was that his actual brother? I don't think so. Beefcake. They were just friends.
And Hulk Hogan?
Yeah.
They were best friends.
Yeah, best friends.
Yep.
I don't think he would have been near as what he was without Hogan pushing him. I would probably say another undervalued or overvalued.
Sure.
I just wasn't ever a fan. Never bought into the gimmick.
Yeah, his gimmick was pretty interesting.
Yeah.
Here's one for you that
Okay.
you probably, I don't think we would have done. Jerry the King Lawler.
Well, definitely money, because he carried Memphis wrestling for 25 years almost.
Sure.
He started in the early 70s. That might be exaggerating a little bit. 20 years for sure. He went both directions as a hero and a bad guy.
Yeah. Uh-huh.
He could make the best looking, best face on the planet. He could be the best heel. I'd say money. I never was a
Agreed.
fan, but I certainly appreciate the fact that it's really tough to stay in the same location for as many years as he did and draw in houses like he drew in. I mean, he set records in Memphis.
Well, yeah, and I think just like, I mean, there were certain people in that territory. It's a lot. To me, there are guys now in this era that have carried the era like John Cena did for so long. Him and Edge basically were it for so long. And you have to pay ultimate respect to that, of like putting the company on your back, and Jerry the King was that for sure.
So, David, if you're still listening, I have an overvalued or undervalued or money question for you, and you just said in question mark Bill Watts in the Mid-South organization. So, were they overvalued, undervalued, or money? David Carroll, answer that for us, and we'll get back to that here in a second. He also has the great Kabuki on there.
I don't know much about the great
Well,
Kabuki.
the angle they came in once he came in WCW is he was the father to the Great Muta.
Fabulous Muta?
No, the Great Muta.
The Great Muta.
Or Muta.
Yeah, Muta. Gotcha.
Yeah, he came in 88, 89.
Fabulous Moolah.
He was that angle with when Terry Funk and Ric Flair were having that angle where you've probably seen it, where Flair slammed his head on a table with after his match with Steamboat, and then turned heel of face. Funk was the heel, and then when Ric Flair was being ganged up on by Terry Funk and the Great Muta, Sting comes to his rescue, and they did a whole 6-month angle.
What do you think about Sting, though?
I love Sting.
Yeah.
I really I don't know why. I can't tell you, because I really didn't like the gimmicky stuff.
Sure.
But the Crow thing was just phenomenal.
Yeah.
And I really was kind of out of touch with pro wrestling during that time frame.
Sure.
Till all that, the NWO angle, till Sting was hitting the rafters for 16 months or 17 months.
Yeah. I want to watch Sting Flair at, oh gosh, it was, what's their big one? Starrcade.
Actually, the Great American Bash at I think it was 90 or 91 Great American Bash when Sting won the title.
Yeah.
That's the one you want to see.
That's the one.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's
Right.
probably their best one.
Yeah, I gotta watch it.
Because it
I'm
was
gonna watch it.
basically 2 or 3 years of setting that up for the most part.
Yeah, which is incredible.
And he would have had it earlier, but they were working an angle, and Sting climbed up on a cage. I don't remember who was going on in the ring, but the head of security pulled him off the cage, and it tore his ACL.
That was one night, too, that I believe Sting and Flair wrestled the night of WrestleMania 7. I can't remember to go against WrestleMania, but one
Maybe.
of those years that
Maybe.
Sting and Flair went at it. So, yeah.
Money. So David Carroll said Bill Watts, Mid-South Wrestling money.
Yeah. What else we got? TiVo?
Yeah. Kind of wrapping up tonight.
Wrapping
It's going to
up.
be a shorter air. You have one?
I
Don't?
I can.
Yeah, why don't you go?
I can't. Yeah. I
Okay.
mean, I'm always ready, in season or out of season. Like, anyway, so let me get to the Bible app real quick.
So,
And you know what? I'll just share what I've been talking about,
okay.
or just reading
Yeah.
this morning. Or actually, I'll tell you what I've just been thinking about with students and what I shared with them. And I was kind of thinking about the story of Elijah and the prophets of Baal, which sounds interesting, but really kind of took a self assessment a little bit recently with all this Chiefs fandom, which I'm proud to be a Chiefs fan and all of that. But it's like, okay, I do sometimes idolize sports more than I probably should.
Yeah,
But it also
we all do.
Yeah, but it also made me realize, okay, at some point, I think that we are all worshiping something. Hopefully it's God, but I think a lot of times in this world, like, I think we're prone to worship something else other than God. And I think that's what makes choosing Jesus even better.
Mm-hmm.
I think that we were all kind of born with different predispositions.
Okay.
That and all of that. And so, but there are obviously idols that are going to try to pull us in different directions. In that story of Elijah and the prophets of Baal, where he has 40 priests of Baal that are coming against Elijah and threatening him, and basically Elijah says, okay, let's have a little contest a little bit.
Right.
Of like, I'm going to set up this big altar, and I want you to pray to your god of Baal, and I want you to have him set it on fire. And so the prophets do all of this stuff, and nothing happens. And then all of a sudden, Elijah says, okay, I'm going to do you one better. Let me flood this altar with water.
Oh, yeah.
And I'm going to pray to my God and see if he shows up. And he does immediately and consumes that altar with fire. And all of the, like, God was on display, and to the prophets of Baal, a lot of them converted to following the one true God. And so I say all of that is, like, I think that there's patterns that we can follow, and it reminds me of Romans, of what it talks about is that sometimes you can become a product of the things that are around you, just like these people that are following Baal. Obviously, there is a large contingent of people that were pulling people to idolize and to worship Baal, but God shows up and blows them out of the water.
Always does.
How much more, like, do we idolize things, whether it's money or fame or you name it, whatever it is, fill in the blank there, that we're looking for those things to fulfill us. And I definitely know that the Kansas City Chiefs won't fulfill you because they let me down so many times, you know? And
but you get to hold on to it for 6 months.
I will, for a while.
Really, a year.
Maybe even 2 years. I don't know.
Oh, let's not get carried away.
But anyway, like, those things just, like, even with the Chiefs, the joy is going to fade away a little bit. Now, do I have that forever? Yes.
Yes,
but
you do.
Really, to me, it's like we have to make sure we're not we're following what Romans 12 says, that we are transformed by the renewing of our minds.
Right.
That do not conform to the patterns of this world. That's so simple. Like, it's a clear instruction.
Amen to that.
Don't conform to patterns of this world, especially now. I think it was true back then when he wrote it. It was to the Romans as well, obviously. But so it kind of shows that humans across the test of time has always faced this pull to sin. And he's saying don't fall into that pattern, but be transformed. Be transformed by the renewing of your mind. So we need to constantly renew, realize that we're new creations in Jesus every day and follow him. Say no to the idols and things that are going to try to pull us and focus on God.
Yep.
So there's
a lot of distractions these days.
Oh, yeah, definitely.
And
There's a lot of noise.
A lot of noise. I think that what will help you is if you're, just heard what Kyle said, I think the biggest thing is just make sure that you're in the Word every day.
Amen.
One of the things that Kyle and I and our church is doing right now is the chronological Bible, and which I've never done. And I can say I probably,
we're in Exodus, baby.
Yeah, here we are. Whew.
It's gonna get tougher.
Yeah, falling asleep. Like, okay, what was that again? Sometimes I've caught myself. I had to do a couple of reads there because I'm like, okay, what had just happened?
Yeah, and I think that's fair. I think but that's a commitment to yourself. It's like, hey, I'm gonna get through this thing.
Yep.
And that you have to commit as we go into Leviticus and Numbers and all of that. But I
kind of holding my breath.
It's gonna be okay.
And I have shamefully never read the Bible all the way through. So
yeah.
It's gonna be interesting.
I don't think that I know that I've read the whole Bible, but not in order like this. And actually, I kind of tapped out a little bit, if I'm being honest. And Jessica's like, "You need to pick this back up with me because this is hard." And I was like, "Okay." So I was back in it this morning and reading about the tabernacle, and they had just, it's so funny that the Book of Exodus, by the way,
it is
where it's like. You have all these
molding of the gold and the craftsman and the the gold hooks.
This is how you build it.
Curtains and oh my gosh.
Yeah, here are the specifics of how you build it, and then we're going to go into the specifics of how it is built over again. So it's like, anyway.
I mean, it's pretty detailed.
Oh yeah.
I mean,
we can make a tabernacle if we wanted to.
We could
for sure.
Just look at Exodus; it's all there.
It's all there.
Golly.
So.
All right. Anything else?
No. It was a good night, good week. We're going to continue to have more fun. And,
yes.
And
we're going to have interesting little top 10s and top 5s and, our favorites of all time. And we're going to keep it interesting for sure. We may spend, what we have promised and probably hadn't followed through as much as we should have is, spotlighting a particular coach, athlete, entertainer, person we know, testimony of somebody. We're going to dial more into that as we get more into the football offseason, if you will.
Yeah.
And I promise to do a better job of that. We both kind of dropped the ball.
Oh, yeah, but now's the time, though, I think.
Yeah.
So.
Well, I kind of knew that this, I think you and I during football season could have probably spent about a solid 3-hour show if we really wanted to.
Just week to week, yeah.
But neither one of us have time for that.
No, we got to go to bed eventually.
Well, you have to start an hour earlier and go an hour later, and I'm just not.
Yeah.
I mean, just can't. Don't have the time for it. So, anyway, any last closing thoughts? Thunder's winning, by the way.
They're winning by 4 against the Pelicans.
They got behind there for a minute, and he walked.
Oh, he did.
Seriously?
He can't just hop.
Yeah. Anyway. They're still up, though, by 1 with 2:39 left. So if you're not near your TV and you want to check out the end of the Thunder game,
it's snug right now.
It's 1:15, 1:14, 2:28 remaining. The Thunder with the ball at New Orleans, folks. And it's been Thunder had like a 8-9 point lead at one point, and Thunder do what they usually do is they blow the lead.
Not this team. They're great.
They're pretty good.
Yep.
But that way we may dive more into the Thunder next week, perhaps. It's
I
this
think
for
so.
real? Is this because they're starting to of course, All-Stars, things change after All-Star game.
Yeah, I think so.
Everybody kind of buckles down, and you start seeing more strategy in the games instead of just going up and shooting. What happened there? I don't understand what happened.
We'll see. There was a
foul away from the ball.
So,
okay.
Anyway.
So it has been Faithletic, the podcast. If you've tuned in for the first time, we are a show that combines athletics and faith. There's thus Faithletic.
Faithletic, baby.
We spend between an hour and a half to 2 hours. Today we're going to sign off in about an hour and 20 minutes, somewhere in there. But tell your friends about us. Share us on Facebook. Can I say that? Facebook.
You got it.
Well, you have our permission to do so multiple times if you choose. If you go to our Facebook page, and we have a separate page called Faithletic, you can go see all of our episodes, or you can go to, the best thing to do is go to our YouTube channel. Just type in Faithletic, subscribe, hit the little bell, and every time we're on, or actually every time a new show is loaded, you can watch the show.
Watch it right then.
If you like our show on Facebook, you can see us live. You're notified every time that we're live. So join us next week, 8 p.m. Thursday night, Faithletic. We appreciate you being here. I'm Coach Dan. He's KC. We enjoyed all of our people that joined us tonight. You want to ramble them off real quick? You got time? You still got it up?
Oh, let's see. I mean,
just all our people that listen in tonight?
Yeah. Let's see. David Carroll was listening. Your wife, lovely wife, Tamara.
Yep.
Adam Kosh, Jeff Pyatt, Brad Ellis, Jeff Folks, Peyton Means, my friend Luke Mashmeyer, Zach Dillard. Yeah, that's about it. But we had
multiple comments tonight, though.
Yes.
Multiple comments tonight. It's probably one of the most we've seen in one night. So we appreciate you guys. We'll see you next week at 8 p.m. on this very special edition this week of Faithletic. We thanks for joining us. We'll see you next week.
Deuces and smoochers, everybody.